That's what we're talking about, really good stuff.
Thank you. Okay, let me plug this in. Okay. Hi, everybody watching online. We're going to get started. Let me just set this up. Okay. Here it is. Okay. All right. So today we are at session 4 of launch, so session 4 of 12. And we are going to cover the listing presentation tonight. So we're going to go over from start to finish how to prepare for a listing presentation, what to bring with you on a listing presentation, how to execute at the listing presentation, how to close them to get the agreement signed, and a few ideas about marketing for listings, just so that you have some ideas about marketing that you can present to your clients. There'll be a whole separate section that will be taught by Brian on Monday about actually marketing your listings for sale. So we're not going to talk so much on what you'll actually do once you get the listing. Today we're really talking about the listing appointment and how to master that. So the ultimate goal is to go over the pre-listing packet today. I'm going to show you exactly what I do on listing presentations, and we'll troubleshoot some objections, common objections that you hear when you're on the listing presentation. So, has everybody, Colleen, have you been watching the videos?
I didn't last night, but I did on Wednesday night.
Okay, awesome.
But, yeah.
Awesome. And Amanda, you've been watching them. So we've been talking a lot about the daily 10-4. So, and Colleen, are you familiar with that term?
I think we kind of covered it the first session.
Awesome.
Last Tuesday.
Yeah. So, again, for anybody that's watching online that's new or is not sure what the term is, a daily 10-4 is adding, talking to 10 people that are already in your database every day, adding 10 new people into your database every day, writing 10 handwritten note cards a day, and previewing 10 houses a week. So, and we talked last night a little bit about the importance of actually going and physically going to preview 10 houses every single week in the target area that you're looking to sell in. And the benefit of that is that it will solidify in your head the house that you see. That way, once it sells, that's really part of the way that you start to learn pricing. So once it sells, you can say, oh yeah, I saw that house. Okay, that house went for $220. The house across the street went for $230, and I was in that house too, and it had X, Y, and Z. So now I'm seeing a little bit of what buyers will pay $220 for and what buyers will pay $230 for, and all of that is going to be super important on the listing presentation, because the most important part of a listing presentation is obviously to get the document signed, but it's to come to a reasonable price with the sellers. So getting them to sign the documents, that's definitely a skill, but really you don't want to take an overpriced listing. So the only way that you can avoid that is knowing your objections and also knowing the market, right? So you really have to know the market once you start going on listing presentations. And of course, when you're working with buyers, you want to know the market too, so you can help negotiate great deals for them. Okay, so that's the daily 10-4. Let's see. Have you been doing it since we started Ignite? Amanda, Colleen, is it something that you've practiced? Let me just make sure nobody is.
Yeah, I started, since Bold and stuff too, it's like, this is like, a little downgrade, but I mean,
Yeah.
keeping you busy and active in your database. And,
Yeah.
like going out there and, talking, discussing real estate with people.
Yeah,
But then also going back to your database and touching upon the people that are in your
yeah.
sphere.
Yep, awesome. So we want to make sure, obviously, that you're lead generating. If you're not setting listing appointments yet, and again, so Ignite basically covers all of the basics of selling real estate, and it goes in a linear timeline. So we're at the point where you've now lead generated and now you've actually set the appointment. If you're somebody that is watching at home, because there's a bunch of people watching now too, and you haven't yet gone on a listing presentation, definitely take notes in this class, but you really need to focus on yesterday's class on lead generating, because there's no point in knowing how to go on a listing presentation if you don't know how to set the appointment, right? You're gonna have no listing presentations to go on if you're not lead generating and setting the appointments. So that's why we go in this order, and that's why we presume that everybody is comfortable now lead generating. So now we're to the point where you've actually gotten the appointment, and we're ready to hopefully get a signed contract. And the other thing, and I said this last night too, but I'll say it again. When I was a newly licensed real estate agent, I was lead generating a lot when I was first licensed, trying to get my business up and get everything going, and I ended up getting pretty busy. I put a bunch of deals together, and I had, I don't know, like 6 or 7 or something like that deals going at once. And so once that started happening, there's a lot of the contract to close, client management. You're constantly like on the phone with your clients, trying to put out fires. That comes along with that whole portion of selling real estate. It's very easy to let that section of selling real estate take over your whole life. Like, you can just spend all day long working with the clients that you already have and dealing with them. And I did that. I did that for a good probably 3 or 4 months. I felt like, oh my God, I'm so busy. This is so overwhelming. There's so much to learn. I have no idea what to say to these people. I don't know what to do at an inspection, so now I have to learn an inspection. I don't know what to do at this, now I have to figure out how to do all of this stuff. And in the meantime, I stopped lead generating. I really started focusing on getting through these transactions and figuring out the process, and I stopped lead generating. And so what happened was a lot of these deals closed, and then I had nothing in my pipeline. I had no business going. I had no new clients really that I was working with. I had nothing in the horizon, and we know in this area in particular, it can take 60 or 90 days just once you get an accepted offer to get to a closing table. Not to mention, a month or 2 that you might be working with a client before you're even to the stage where you have an accepted offer. So that's why it's really important that once you start getting busy and doing the daily 10-4, adding 10 names into your database every day, contacting the people in your database, doing all of these lead generation activities, that you don't stop lead generating. It has to be your number one priority if you want to really do this full time and create a career around it. Okay, so we're on page 11 now of the packet.
What do you do when, there's an offer that the seller's accepted from the buyers, and then there's a home inspection, and then there's some criteria that's come up. And the home inspection is like in the morning hours. You lead generate in the morning. Do you say, no, can we do it at 3? And it's kind of like crucial 10-day period. How do you, I know you can, I had buyer appointments today, how do you?
So, I do the alternate close with people. I only tell them when I'm available. I don't leave it open-ended for my clients. So in terms of when they're scheduling an inspection, I just say, I attend the inspection with you this week. I'm available Thursday at this time, Friday at this time, Monday. I tell them when I'm actually available, and I don't include my lead generation time because I'm not available at that time. And I tell them it's going to be 2 to 3 hours.
Yep.
So make sure you can block out a time for that. But I give them enough time slots that there's usually never an issue that they can't just schedule it around that. Same thing, tonight, I had clients that wanted to see houses tonight. I'm teaching Ignite. So I said, I have an appointment. Can I show you on Wednesday instead? So I'm showing them the houses tomorrow. People generally will go with your schedule if you know what your schedule is. So you don't have to say, I'm sorry, I lead generate for 3 hours in the morning. You just say, I have an appointment. Right? Because nobody's going to anticipate that you would cancel another client's appointment to pick them. And maybe some people will, but most people will just say, oh, okay. To be honest with you, if I want to take a Saturday day and go to, do nothing, just sit on the couch or go apple picking or something, I will say I have appointments up until 3 o'clock because I do. That is my vacation time. That's part of running your schedule and being able and trying to avoid burnout is you have to pad that time in, the relaxation time, the lead generation time, and there will be enough time in between that to be able to fit in the other stuff, but you have to basically tell people when you're available and set the appointments that way.